Did the USMNT have a positive camp in their last test before the 2026 World Cup? They had two formidable opponents in Germany and Senegal to test the abilities of this team before the 2026 World Cup. And they have a tough group stage. No win is guaranteed. And we were going to see what they could do against some quality opponents and what Mauricio Pochettino had in store for this team. There were a couple players that improved their stock, and there were a couple that I think stock dropped after this camp. But overall, I think it is mostly positive. And I brought on my friend Adam Turner from Stan USMNT to talk about this camp and how we're feeling heading into the 2026 World Cup. Guys, before we get to the video, though, make sure you guys give us a like down below if you enjoy the content. Also, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to do a giveaway. If we hit 15,000 subscribers by the World Cup final, we'll be doing a jersey giveaway, maybe even two. So make sure you guys are subscribed if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you don't miss any of our videos. All right, Adam, we concluded our final camp before the World Cup. We're finally here, man. This coming Friday, 5 days away from our first World Cup game in 4 years, or actually like 3.5 because we played it in late 2022. But still, a point still stands. We're finally here, man. How are we feeling?
Getting a little nervous. Saturday, I got 3 of my college buddies are going to be here. So they're kind of casual, USMNT fans, pick it up every 4. One of them was a college soccer player at the school we played at. The other 2 of my basketball teammates. So I'm excited, man. Like, I'm excited to watch it, like, with a group of people, which is cool. I feel like I always end up watching maybe by myself, or, my wife and kids might kind of tag along a little bit, but I'm excited to kind of have a day, like, I feel like that's, it's a thing. And for anybody in cities, I highly suggest, like, finding a bar that's going to, show the game. If you have that luxury, it's so fun. I mean, like, some of my best memories, right? Not to wax poetical here, but, like, I remember watching the Portugal game on my honeymoon, in, the Virgin Islands at a resort. And it was like at all-inclusive resort or whatever. And it was like the bar, that they had, and it was like jam-packed. And it was sick. And like, even like at that resort, because it was international, like, you could go in there and watch the England game and it was packed. Like, the communal nature of soccer, sports in general, right? If you're watching like the Knicks final run, it's so cool. It's like uniting a city, that's divided. And soccer, in a big way, I think unites a lot of the world. As cheesy as that is to say, it's like we're all stopping and watching the same thing at the same time. We can argue about it. We all like different teams, but it's cool, man. I'm nervous for us. Like, I just am like, you go into that first game and you're like, just go get the first goal, man. Just go get the first goal. But super pumped we're here, right? It's 4 days away.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just excited for the opportunity. And, we'll talk about this here in the camp, which I think it was pretty positive, which we'll get more into. But I'm just ready for it to happen and just kind of see what happens, right? It's been all this anticipation for years now. We talked about all these players, what they were going to be at this moment, how it was going to culminate, what was going to happen. And we're finally going to see what the final results are. So let's talk about this camp we just had, right? We played Senegal and Germany, 2 pretty respectable opponents, and more specifically Germany, right? So the first game we won 3-2. The second game we lost 2-1. What's your takeaways from these friendlies? And we did a preview, I think, with Derek. Maybe we did a preview. I know we talked about the Senegal game afterwards, but what's your takeaway? And did you get what you wanted from these friendlies?
Yeah, listen, I'm sure we will, break it down in Zapruder film, everything, and like go into the details. But on a super, like, let's fly up to 30,000 feet and let's look down, right, and kind of see, and like let's look behind us and see where we've been, right? Thinking back to 2-3 years ago and the mess that the program was in. Thinking back to even a year ago, right? Like, and where we were, right? Like, going into the Gold Cup and like losing the Nations League pretty spectacularly, like losing both games. None of our guys showing up for the Gold Cup, and it being like, oh my God, this is like a B or C team for the Gold Cup. And are we going to be ready? Like, holy crap. And just like the uncertainty that I think, if you think back a year, a little less after that Gold Cup, the uncertainty that set with us all was like, oh my God, like, are we going to get grouped at home? Like, I legitimately was thinking about that last year. It was like, if we don't figure this out, we're a mess. And so I'm going to look not just at the camp, but I think it's appropriate to kind of look at the journey up to this camp. And I saw a lot of great things happen in the last 12 months. I saw some growth. I saw an identity established tactically. I saw a coach figure out and find his players. Not all of us agree with every one of them. That's okay. But like, the coach clearly found his guys, and that's important, right? Like, listen, England fans, with England literally making deep runs in Euros and World Cups, have been yelling about the player selection, right? I don't know if like anybody's is on that side of Twitter. I am somehow. Like, the algorithm will send me there because I love that stuff. And like, they're making finals runs and going, this manager won't play the right players. Imagine, so that's kind of where we're at, where it's like, we have grown, right? Every step of the journey. It was a really rocky journey with Poch. Like, it was very, I don't even want to say up and down. It was kind of like mid and down. And then all of a sudden it turned, and it was great. And the culmination of this camp, it was that, like, I thought you saw a clear identity of what he wants to do. And I want to get into whether or not that's the best way to make a deep run in the World Cup, because I've got some question marks that will be answered pretty soon in the next month. But he clearly has the identity that this team wants to play for, and this team can do it at a pretty high level. We saw it against Uruguay. I get it's a friendly. I get people are struggling. We saw it in a bunch of the other friendlies. We saw it burn us in a couple friendlies, the identity. But he's got an identity, and it's not sitting back, man. Like, that's not Poch. He's not sitting back, and he's not going to absorb and counter. He's not Atletico Madrid. He's not Simeone. So it's going to be exciting for one way or the other. It's going to be exciting. I think we're going to play pretty exciting games. I don't think we're going to be in a ton of 0-0s that are like slugfest. It feels like we're going to be in more open games, which scares me, but kind of delights me all the same. And like, we're going to see what our guys got, man.
No, I agree with you about the roller coaster of the last year. Maybe you could even argue last 2 years, because there was a point in time, I don't know if it was after the World Cup or the Gold Cup, but me and you were talking and we were like, man, if you could let go of Poach, would you, like, just cut off from him, hire someone else? Would you do it? Right? No questions asked. And you and I were contemplating. We're like, hey, maybe that wouldn't be, he doesn't seem like he kind of knows what this team is or what they could be. Very awkward fit. Right. But I would say right now is the most confident that I've ever been in his ability to coach this specific team, which is a good thing, because this is the most important time you'd want to feel like that. So let's talk about the Senegal game, because I know we broke that down, but I just want to touch on it a little bit, and then we'll move on to the Germany game, because that's one you and I haven't talked about. But just to go back to the Senegal game, which is the first friendly we played, what was the biggest positive for you in that game and the biggest negative for you in that game for us?
Yeah, we talked a lot about that one. I think the biggest positive was clearly the attack and the attacking moments. And if you score 3 goals against a quality opponent, it's a good game. And I thought we had enough chances to score 3. It wasn't a lucky 3. And clearly the negatives are kind of the same thing that kind of keep busting us up, which is like, it seems like we're just going to give up 2 goals to any team that has a decent attack. And that's like rough. Like, it doesn't feel like teams are getting lucky against us. It feels like we are gifting opportunities, whether it be the free kick at the beginning of the Germany game, which was pretty uncalled for and pretty unnecessary, right? And then the coverage of the free kick was pretty horrific, right? The second goal was also just, I don't know, like just a bunch of lax defending as they're dicing us up. So that's it. I mean, the attack continues to be the bright spot. And if you're talking about Poch's identity, like, he clearly wants to kind of defend by attacking. He clearly doesn't really trust the defense, but like, he's not like, oh, I don't trust the defense, I'm going to pack it in. He's kind of like, I don't trust the defense. Well, let's go attack. And then let's like kind of counter press when we give it up, which to me, I'm like, oh my God, we're like counter pressing too much. If they make one pass through, we have like a 3-on-3 with like Miles and Ream. Like the all game, I'm like, oh my God, Musiala is about to like have the ball against Ream and Miles. Like, it's like heart attack inducing, man. But like, We actually held up. I thought we were far better in the run of play, especially transitioning against Germany, which was really nice. But you kind of saw a splattering of the negatives, right? Which was like a little bit of a crappy foul, a little bit of bad transition D, a little bit of bad set piece D. It was like the sprinkles of bad D versus just like one problem you can fix. So that's probably the thing I'm the most negative about is the defense just seems way off. And I think we all have to cross our fingers and hope Chris Richards is coming back. We'll make it all okay. And I think that's a lot on one guy, but I think it's all we have.
No, I agree. And so moving on to the Germany game, and I know you watched it delayed because you had some prior obligations, but the one thing that was concerning for me was that first 15 minutes, man, their press was killing us. Like we were really struggling against the press. And Miles Robinson, did you see how uncomfortable he looked passing the ball? Like he looked like he was ready to have just several blunders. And it wasn't just him. Like I think the whole back line looked a little uncomfortable with the press. And I thought Matt Freese looked very uncomfortable in the first 15 minutes. And you can maybe even argue most of the game. But then we settled in, which was good, right? That's one thing that we've always wanted to see is can this team play a full 90 minutes of a good game? Not just one half, not 30 minutes, not 60, play a whole solid game. And I'll be honest with you. When I saw Miles Robinson starting and Tim Ream, I thought this was going to be like a 4 or 5-1 result. I thought we were in trouble, especially because Germany had pretty much their ideal starting 11. So I would say that because my expectations completely shifted before the game, I would say I was pretty impressed with the result.
And Tillman in the pivot, which I like it more than Berhalter, but like if you told me a year ago Tim Tillman's going to be like one of your two setback defensive mids, and they're actually not really doing that with him, which I get, which is why I'm saying they're kind of like defending through attacking. They're like, screw it, put a good ball controlling guy there and he's going to be worse defensively. And Tillman actually is not, he has decent moments defensively. He's not like a total cone or anything, but point still stands. Like Malik Tillman. So if you got Tillman in there, it's like, wow, I'm kind of even more impressed, right? Like, because I agree, it's like, okay, like we went up 2 to Germany, but one was on like a kind of BS set piece that like we shouldn't have fouled, and like it's a pretty good team. And I didn't think we were like bleeding chances and they were blowing, like I thought we were okay. Like they're Germany, they're gonna get some chances, but we weren't giving up like the massive chances. And that's like, that was a good sign and something maybe we can build on, if we can kind of get solid. It was, interesting to see Tillman play back there. I thought that was a big shift. And Garrett kind of called that, and obviously we saw it at the end of the game. So there was a chance, but, and Berhalter was bad. I mean, he was bad in game 1. And people are calling me out and calling me an MLS or a Euro shill. And like, dude, we gotta call it how we see it, dude. Berhalter's bad in that first game. Like, just is what it is. I thought Freeman was a little loose with the ball this game, just to call it out. I gave him a lot of praise after the first game, and was really, kind of saying he had turned me. And I just thought he was looser overall with the ball in the back. I didn't think he was as solid. I agree with you. It seemed like those guys, especially with Adams as one of your outlets in the middle of the field, it's just kind of tough, but they grew into the game. They got out of some jams and created some cool opportunities with it. It's I know this is going to be a hot take in some circles. It's a well-coached team in the final 2/3 of the field. Like, not just final third. Like, I think this is one of the better U.S. teams I've ever seen in terms of like possessing and building in dangerous ways, right? Berhalter got the team to possess, but we never really were able to like get that cutting edge to the possession. And I feel like with Potts right now, there's not just possession, there are connecting plays that are dangerous constantly. I don't know if you agree with that, Will. And it's like both sides of the field, a lot of different guys. And man, it's just like a lot. I was like sitting there watching, I'm like, this is a lot of talent. Like Pulley, Ballo, McKinney, Tillman, Jedi, Dest. I was like, damn, like that is, and knock on wood, like all those guys got healthy at the right time. And that's about as strong as we can throw out there. It really is.
One thing I noticed too, more specifically in this Germany game, is that we didn't play a back 5. We played a back 4, and Dest was more as like a right midfielder or right winger. He was hardly ever back in this game. He was moving forward the entire game. Alex Freeman was essentially locking down that right side. And we'll talk more about this, like when we talk about maybe our ideal starting 11s or like who we think should start. But if that's what we're going to do, Adam, if Des is going to play as an attacker, why not just put Way in there or
Yeah,
Geo?
I don't hate it. I think he definitely can. I think there's. I'll be honest with you, and I forget the exact numbers. I tweeted about it a couple months ago. Like Serginho Dest has any time Serginho Dest has been healthy, if you look at it, we tend to start to play really, really well and have really good runs of form. And I think he there's a couple things that he does. Not to say Dest can't do some version of this, but I think Dest is really smooth on the ball. I think he connects play very quickly. I think he's really dangerous 1v1, even more dangerous than Tillman. I think he inverts into the middle of the field really nicely at times. We've seen it in the past with Weah. He and Weah, that relationship that they've had. Um, but I think Dest brings something that Weah doesn't. I really like the idea of Temi Weah as a last 20-minute sub when you need a goal and a guy who's just going to bring so much life onto the park. And I actually think if I had to flip it, I have to say, okay, we got these two weapons. Which one's going to be best suited to be a starter and which one's going to be best suited to come off the bench? I kind of lean toward Des being the 70-minute guy and the tempo setter and Weah being the change of pace. I don't hate it. I wouldn't hate it if Temi Weah started. It wouldn't be like the worst thing in the world.
But did you expect that? Did you expect Des to be a right midfielder? Like, I mean, I didn't expect that to happen.
I'd have to rewatch, but it felt like, I mean, he's been playing right wing back, even when we have the back three, with Freeman. Yeah. It felt like Freeman was maybe a little bit higher throughout this game, but I thought that could have just been, I'm not a tactical expert, but like, I thought it could have just been how Germany was playing us, that we were kind of flexing guys into different spots. But Dest has been pretty advanced, so it doesn't shock me that that's kind of where Poch has landed with him, and Poch has had a number of spells, including at Tottenham, where he's played three center backs and let his basically right backs become right wingers, and provide the width.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, and okay, we'll do the grade later because I want to wait until we talk about some of the winners. Let's talk about some of the winners and losers of this camp, right? Because there's definitely some in both categories. And guys, let us know who you think is the biggest winners and losers of this camp for the USMNT. We'll start with winners, Adam. Who do you think is the biggest winners of this camp? Like, give me three, unless you have more, but just give me your top three winners of this camp.
I think Tillman is a massive winner of those two friendlies. I think he came in as like, will Tillman start? Where will he start? And I think very clearly it actually seems like he's going to start. And that's a big shift from like a week ago when I was like, hot take, Berhalter's going to start. I think you might have some comments on that, but I think Tillman will start. It seems like Poch really loves him, and he played really well in the first game. In his second half minutes, I mean, he as an upfront guy, I thought he just was brilliant connecting play and had a couple key passes. And then I thought he was really good this last game against Germany too. I thought he proved he could hold up next to Adams. And I just don't know what the other options there are. It's McKennie, but he's just not doing that, guys. Like, I still see people today like, he's going to play McKennie in the midfield. It's like, he's never even tried it. Like, so I just don't see it, right? At least the Tillman thing, you could see, he might try. He just tried it.
Hey, everyone, quick word from our sponsor, FanDuel. If you're into soccer like I am, you already know how exciting La Liga, the Premier League, and MLS matches can get. With FanDuel, you can make it even more fun by placing bets on your favorite teams and matches across all three leagues. Whether it's a Premier League showdown, a La Liga thriller, or an MLS game with your local club, FanDuel makes it easy and exciting to bet on what you watch. Just remember, you have to be 21 years or older to play. Please bet responsibly and only if you're of legal age and in a state where it's allowed. Download the FanDuel app or head over to FanDuel.com, sign up, and get in on the action. Thanks for supporting the channel through FanDuel.
So he's one. Who you give one to? Let's go back and forth a little bit here.
Okay, I think my other biggest winner is probably Alex Freeman. There was a lot of people that thought he wasn't ready for the moment. He hasn't been playing a lot of minutes at Villarreal.
Stand up,
And listen, it's not just you. Like that was kind of like a
no
consensus.
doubt.
He's like 20, 21 years old. He's very young, inexperienced, not played for club in a while, like a couple months, regularly, but he's really settled in. If we look at Alex Freeman Gold Cup versus World Cup Alex Freeman, totally different player, way more calm, way more confident, and just plays like he's been playing with these guys for a while. He's fit in very, very well. And I think that's, we talked about the leaky back line. You're going to need him to play well. He's going to go against some very good attackers in this tournament if we want to go anywhere. So I've been very impressed with his growth over the last year, and I think he's had a very good camp.
It's hard to even like think. I'm just sitting there thinking about other guys as you're talking, and there's not like that many other risers, or guys who just like won the camp. My other name I'll throw out is Pulisic, who's been under a lot of heat, right? For
Yeah.
lack of scoring with the national team, lack of scoring with club recently. And like, this guy's supposed to be the guy. This is supposed to be his World Cup. He's not ready. And I think he showed brilliantly. I think he showed you he's just a gamer, man. Like he just always has been. Like, and this form with club won't matter. The fact that it hasn't done it in friendlies for the United States. You got to remember, we haven't really played competitive games, guys.
Yeah.
Like, what did it was Nations League, right? Did he not come to Nations League, or was that the Gold Cup?
Gold Cup, he didn't come. He didn't come to Gold Cup.
What was it like? He wanted to like come but not play. That was Gold Cup where he didn't want to play the group stage, or he like.
Yeah, he wanted to play the friendlies against Turkey and Switzerland, but he did not want to play in the actual tournament.
That wasn't okay. That wasn't the Nations League. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy to me because like everything since then's really been a friendly, I think, right? I mean, we really haven't had a competitive game. And I don't know, Pulisic's a gamer, man. And like he continues to be the man, right? And like a lot of us who live through Landon and Clint and are attached to those guys are like, he's not them, he isn't like he is guys. I'm sorry. You might not like him as much. There might be the Trump dance, there might be whatever your reason is. He's the dude. He's the dude, and like this is his World Cup, and he kind of came out and said, "Watch, like check it out." And like we really need that. I think you and I have said it a million times. Like the team really can't go far unless he's going to fire at his best. It just can't. Like,
dude, he looked so good in both games. I think and I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you because he has had a couple bad months with club. And obviously, if you're not playing well for your club, it's not a guarantee. It's more likely you're not going to carry over and be good for your team, right? Your national team. But man, he turned it on. Like the first game, he had 2 goal contributions, scored his first goal since November of 2024. And then he didn't score against Germany, but did you see the plays and the effort he was making and that ball he tapped over the German's head? I don't remember who it was, the German player, but to keep it in bounds. I mean, that was nuts, right? That was crazy. And he just looked like he belonged out there. Like he was one of the legit best players on the pitch when we were playing Germany. So he was going to be on my list of players to improve just because his stock was just very low. And he's had a lot of things go on to him, like on the field, off the field. So to see him kind of going in the right direction, huge positive heading to the World Cup. Like this is exactly what you and I would want.
For sure. And you have to have it if we're gonna show up, like there's a couple guys, like if you really want to talk about who has to show up for us, he has to show up. McKennie has to show up, right? I think Ballo has to show up. I think Tyler Adams has to show up. To me, it's like those 4. And it's not saying obviously the defense is going to be really important, but like if any one of those 4 aren't kind of like at their best, Ballo might be the one exception because I actually think Pepe can provide a lot of value if Ballo for some reason hit a cold spell. But I still think Ballo you've seen it this year for club. Like Ballo at his absolute best is just a different level. And I just think those 4 guys. Now Adams is one I wanted to chat about. Like I think that he's coming under a lot of heat for his role in the second Germany goal yesterday. Rightfully so. I mean, he has a penchant for like kind of falling asleep and making dumb plays and getting out of position in a way that like really reliable center defensive mids just don't a lot. And it's pretty painful, Will, to be honest. Like, watching that whole sequence back and be like, all right, what happened here? And you start to notice and you're like, oh, Adam just got like the guy like literally rolled by him and he's standing up and slowing down and not even tracking him, letting a guy roll to not, 30 feet away or 30 yards away, rolls to like 15, and he has to be better. Like he can't be the blunder, there's going to be too many other defensive blunders because we're weak in the back. It can't be Adams. Like I said this on the X app yesterday. I was like, he has to be nearly perfect. And somebody like, that's unfair. And I'm like, no, it's not. He's your Premier League, right? Like stud defensive mid. Like that guy has to be perfect. I'm sorry. He cannot make horrific mistakes. Like, sorry. Like, it's not acceptable. He's 28 or whatever he is now. This is his World Cup. Like, he's got to be better. So it was worrying to see that happen. That felt like old Adams. And we'll knock on wood that he's locked in and he's not the guy giving up that kind of stuff.
What was he a loser for you in this camp?
I don't think so, actually, to be honest. I other than that moment, I thought he was pretty good on the whole. And I thought he did more good than bad, even in that Germany game, right? Sometimes people could define a whole game by one moment. But in my opinion, like, he was a big reason why we were pretty stout outside of that, though. Like, that's how I felt. I felt like he was pretty solid, broke plays up really nicely, like, didn't get totally burned in other spots. So he's not a loser for me in the camp. The biggest loser in the camp is Sebastian Berhalter at this point. It seems like he came in as, starting in a starting conversation, at least. Certainly. I mean, he started, and he really, in my opinion, like, I don't know if people don't watch closely or what it is, but like, pretty horrific in the beginning of game one. Like, I was watching closely and I really wanted him to be good because I thought he was going to start. And I was like kind of cheering for him. I was like, please, like, be the Uruguay guy. And he'll always do. The problem is he'll always do a couple really showy, flashy things that like US fans are like, yeah, it's my guy. He got stuck in. Oh, we need that. But they like miss the two like lunge blow-bys that like lead to fouls outside the box and like just like terrible giveaway, like painful giveaway. You like have the ball, it's totally fine. You like body spazzes out and loses the ball. Like, he had like 6 of those in the first 30 minutes. And I was like, this is horrific. And I've never seen somebody with more supporters. Oh my God, you're such a hater, man. Like,
so you're not calling him Berhaldinho now with his move out of bounds against Germany?
That was tough, by the way.
That was,
like,
yeah.
That was nasty. Last guy on the team, I would have expected to pull that, by the way, the Elastico. I kind of like the role he played last game, though, right? Like,
yeah.
And just to be fair to the guy, I'm not his biggest fan. I don't think he should be in the camp, but like, I actually think there's a productive role in there for him, right? Which is like, let's bring you when we are going to be pressuring late in the game. Say we're down 1-0, right? And games always just manifest into one team ends up pressuring, the other team ends up absorbing 1-0 late. And it doesn't matter who it is. It could be like a really good team. It could be a really bad team. It's just kind of game state, right? He's great in that moment where it's like, hey, we might get 4 or 5 set pieces in the last 10, right? He's going to be the best guy to deliver those. I agree with that. He has a specialty in that. And the fact that he's, getting burned going backwards just won't matter as much, So yeah, but I don't know. He went from starting to, in my brain, like, Poch is going to start this dude. To actually, I'm like, I don't think Poch is going to start this dude now. Which feels good.
So he's your biggest loser. I think
there's a couple. I'm interested to hear yours. I've got a couple.
Well, we know the obvious guy, but that doesn't. I feel like that shouldn't even count because we didn't ever think he was going to do anything anyway, right? I think one of my biggest losers is probably McKennie, man. I think he came in the second half in the first game and he was okay, but I don't think he was that good in the first half. And I know people are going to say, but Will, like, are you saying he was bad? My expectations for Weston McKennie was this man just had the best season of his career in Serie A at Juve. We need that carried over and him playing at the highest level for the national team. And I don't think you or anyone who's being honest watched these 2 games and thought, you know what? That's Juve McKennie. That's the best version we've seen of McKennie play for the USMNT. I didn't feel that way. This looked like McKennie when he played in Copa America and he was fat and overweight and wasn't playing his best. Now, I don't want to go too far into that because we haven't seen enough games, but the trend is not looking good right now. He did not make a huge impact, I think, in the games like we would need him to do.
thought he was pretty bright at the end of game one. Yeah, to your point, I mean, he wasn't special or anything, and obviously there's no big payoff or big moments, but yeah, I mean, yeah, Miles is the biggest one and the most obvious one. I mean, it was just horrific and involved and around a lot of the goals and the mistakes that led to goals, and he's just not good. I mean, like I have not watched. I'll be 100% transparent. I have not watched him in MLS. I'm good. Like I don't need to watch him in MLS.
You don't know watch a game for Miles Robinson?
Good, but everyone I trust who has watched MLS really closely this year has said, Adam, he's been bad in MLS. I'm like, oh, he's been bad in MLS this year. Like, yeah, he's been bad.
Terrible,
Like,
terrible.
Right. Like that's what I've heard. Like, and guys who like in the past have like supported him or been like, I like him, have told me like, no, he's been bad. I don't know why he's on the team. And I'm like, gotcha. I trust you guys, I mean, I've never liked him. I didn't like him when he was like the young player back in 21 and like, at least there was some upside then. And I thought, man, okay, if he gets a move to Europe, he might be able to grow some parts of his game in a more, just different environment. He's just kind of stayed stagnant, to be honest, and even regressed, right? Which does happen when you stay in the same level and that level isn't that high. You can very easily regress. And I feel like Miles has regressed as a player and been injured, right? He got injured at one point. I feel like after that injury, he just hasn't been the same guy.
I think my other biggest loser, I want to touch on this real quick, and then I'll give you my second biggest loser. I want to mention Ballo. I thought he looked really good and explosive in the first game when he came in the second half. But this game, this is the teams where he's going to have to score or be a threat, against a team like Germany if we want to go anywhere, right? He's the most talented attacker we've ever had. So a lot of people say, and he's going to have to put that to use and score against some of these big opponents. And I just felt like he was not really effective against Germany, right? And that's why I tweeted today that I wouldn't be upset if Pepe started in one of these games in the group stage, just because even if he didn't score, he was setting up goals. He was very good in the final third and like creating chances. His off play was very good, Ricardo Pepe. And so I think that is what makes him so useful. So I just want to mention that real quick. But my other biggest loser was Matt Freese. I thought Matt Freese had a lot of concerning things yesterday against Germany. And people are going to say, oh, but, Will, it's Germany. Okay, who cares? We got to play good against these teams. He did not play well. This is not because the team is so good and they hit a free kick that no keeper in the world could save. These were boneheaded mistakes. And I heard Bruce Arena talk about this on the post game where he said that Freese did not come out of goal enough on that free kick. Like, obviously, Miles Robinson's marking was horrible on that goal against Kai Havertz, but Freese was way too far. He should have went up for the ball on the free kick. So I just feel like Matt Freese is not ready for the moment. And we'll talk more about this in our starting 11s next, but I'm leaning more towards Matt Turner than I have in a year right now.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Goalkeeper's a mess. I'll still tell you, I think Freese has had like one impressive game. I don't even remember what it was. I feel like it was last camp maybe, but he's had like one or two camps ago. He said one impressive game where I'm like, oh, there was like multiple plus saves in that game. And other than that, he feels like he's just been like most mid of mid. And you could call it solid. I mean, I guess it is, but like it just, I don't know. I just feel like for the most part, he hasn't had to come up big and hasn't. I don't know. There's not many memories of like, oh, Freeze just saved that goal. Like that was a goal. And I don't know. Don't you want your goalie doing that, one time a game or, a couple, like for whatever reason, I never felt that way about Freeze. So Turner, I mean, I don't know. He's got the experience and you could kind of just say, it's fair to say, let's just lean on the experience and let's hope the big game experience shows up because he's played more big games and big moments. And maybe Matt Freese won't be ready for this moment, But either way we go, I'm going to be very nervous about goalie. And I just have no faith we're going to get a performance out of a goalie that is a game winner,
Yeah.
And you're going to do anything special, you're going to have one of those, maybe multiple of those as USA.
Okay, so let's go into real quick. What would you give your grade for this camp then? A letter grade, A through F. What would you give this camp?
It was B plus.
I'd say I agree with that. B plus. Yeah. I mean, A would have been like maybe a draw or win against Germany, but I wasn't expecting that to begin with. So I'd say B plus is fair.
Yeah, it can't elevate to A with the defensive stuff for me. But listen, I think, outplayed Germany for much of that game. We
Yeah.
certainly at least played toe to toe with them, right? If goals weren't a thing and you just weren't able to see who scored the goals, you would watch that game and go like, I always play that game where I'm like, if you stop every single, I forget who told me to do this. So, like, if you stop every soccer game, you have somebody edit the game for you, and every single shot that's going to go to the goal gets stopped, and you cannot see the result. You automatically flash like forward in the game in a way that you don't know if it's scored. So you see the buildup, you see the moments, you see the opportunity, you see it get to someone's foot. Sorry, you don't get to see if they scored. And you just 90 minutes of that, right? And if you did that in that game, like, once again, like, you wouldn't get to see the free kick, right? You wouldn't get to see, a Sane shot, whether it goes in or not. So if I had to judge all the moments, it feels like we outplayed them. It feels like we created more moments. It feels like certainly we were even with them. I might just be overhyping it because I'm a US fan and I was pumped that we at least played with them. But it was like felt even. And that's pretty crazy, Like, so that's why it is a B plus, and because we won game one against a really good Senegal team, man. Like, that's a good team. And then the defense is what kind of at least brings it. I mean, because your defensive rating there is like, I don't know, a C, a D. I mean, offensively, I felt like it was like an A camp, in terms of what we created.
No, I agree with that. So let me ask you this, all right? Just to kind of like, there's a couple spots that are still debatable on who is going to start for this team. Like, we don't know the exact starting 11, but I'm going to let you go first, or maybe we can just go back and forth with each spot. I'm going to name the goal, and we'll go from goalkeeper to, and by the way, I'm assuming we're going to do like a 3-4-2-1 formation, right? I think that's what we're probably going to play. Maybe a 4-2-3-1 occasionally. But so goalkeeper, who do you think starts a goalkeeper versus Paraguay?
I think Freeze will start if you want my prediction of who Potch starts.
Okay. I think Matt Turner gets the first start just because Freeze had such a poor showing against Germany. And I think Matt Turner looked pretty decent against Senegal. I mean, there were some chances that weren't really his fault with Ream and McKenzie. But I think Matt Turner had the better showing of the two when it comes to the first two games. Okay. Left back, we know Jedi Robinson's going to start, obviously. Who is your three center backs for Paraguay?
I mean, is Richard starting? Is he back for this game or no?
I think he'll be back for this game.
I think he will be too. So if he's back, I think Richards will be in the middle. I think Ream will be on the left, and I think Freeman will be on the right. I think that's how Potch will go.
I really wish we could have saw Trusty, Richards, and Freeman, because I feel like that would just be the best three we could possibly roll out. Looks like we're probably not going to see that, but I agree with you. That's going to be the three. Right back, Dest, right? We agree on that. Now, here's what gets interesting. Double pivot. Who do you think is going to start that first game against Paraguay?
I think he's going to roll out what he just rolled out. I think he'll roll out Adams and Tillman.
I think there's a chance. I hope you're right, but for some reason, I just feel like he loves Berhalter, man. I'm telling you, I think he could. Now, I know that you made a proclamation, or submitted to Derek about Berhalter, but I think you still could be right. I would not bet against him starting against Paraguay.
Yeah, it feels. Yeah, it just depends on where Potch's head is at. I've actually found that when Potch is given a little time and a little space, he tends to actually make pretty decent calls. As weird as everything was for this team, like, most of what he's doing right now is pretty sane, And I get some people are like, well, it picks itself. And it's like, well, it hasn't always picked itself, Like, people have done weird stuff with this roster. So I'm actually gonna lean toward Derek, and I'm gonna go with sanity. I'm gonna say that he goes Tillman, and he's kind of seen the light a little bit. But if Berhalter's on that team sheet, it will not shock me in the least. I'll just say that. Like, I'm not gonna be like, what? Like, I mean, he's started Sebastian Berhalter like 8 times in the last 12 games or something crazy like that. So
I agree. I think he'll probably go Tillman, but like I would not be shocked if it's Berhalter. I think there's something telling me that could happen. Attackers, who do you think's gonna play in front of them?
I think what we saw in Germany game.
McKinney and Pulisic. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think Balo gets a start, or do you think Pepe gets a start?
No, I think he'll stay with Balo.
Okay. Now, so pretty much the same starting 11 minus Richards, and I think that's
swapping Richards for Miles, basically. Yeah, that's my prediction.
What would you do though? Is there anything you would do differently?
Yeah, I don't know if it would be successful, but I would have done a lot differently from a while
A,
back.
a lot differently?
No, not that much. A lot of it picks itself, but
Yeah.
I would not have with this team, and I know a lot of people think, well, West just had a great season. Where does he play? We have to play him there too. I just think with the math and the calculus of this team, playing Weston McKinney where he's playing him isn't the best math and calculus, right?
Yeah.
I just think like if you, it's a really easy swap, right? It's like, okay, based on the lineup we just said, it's Tillman and him. And like, what do you get out of Tillman by playing him next to Adams, right? And what do you get from West playing him up front, right? And then if you flip that, right, you're going to get, we all know you're going to get more from West than you will from Tillman in the middle of the park. I think defensively, when he's at his best, he hunts balls and is a great going box to box. And like, I just think he's a more impactful defender. He's played there a lot more. He has experience in massive games playing there, right? I mean, think about last World Cup, big Nations League finals games. Like he played most of the biggest games of his career in that spot for the national team, and I think Tillman's like best utilized. You saw it in game one. He's just best utilized in the final third. That's where he does his best work. So the math just doesn't add up to me. And that's like the biggest change I would probably make. I would have also I'll still put it out here and people will say, roll their eyes at me because I've been tooting this horn for like 2 years. I still would have just, instead of having Freeman do what he's doing, I would have had Jedi do what Freeman's doing.
You didn't mention that there, Derek. I mentioned that to Derek, and he was supposed to ask you about that, but I guess it might have slipped his mind. But he was like, he said, what? So you're gonna have to tell him that next time about your Jedi.
Yeah, and like, listen, like Jedi scores a goal, but that goes off like a corner. He would be there. To me, he would be there if he was the left center back, basically. I think Jedi, and this is where I would argue with Derek, because what was the big mistake that Jedi made last game? He was in possession up the field. It was 2 games ago against Senegal.
The Senegal game, the giveaway.
He's in possession up the field, and he kind of freaks out and loses the ball. And like I made the point, like our guys are going to lose the ball there, but like Jedi loses the ball there more than most guys. Like Jedi is not helpful in possession up the field if you're trying to possess and build. He's not great at that stuff. He does bomb forward really nicely, and you would lose that. So I get it. And he's scored a bunch of goals in big games in his career as well, from being able to play forward. So I see it, but it's just like the calculus of the team, once again, to me is like, we could have Temi Weah be the wing back. We could have Jedi be on the field and be, and you could still go forward. Freeman goes forward a decent amount from that spot. So for me, like, I just would really like that because it gets Temi Weah on the field, who's a far better player than Freeman, right? You have to play Jedi out of position a little bit and play him back. But I get Weah, Weah on the left wing back spot instead of Jedi. To me, better in some ways, right? And worse in some ways. Like better in like the possession and build up, right? Temi Weah for like 4 years, like ignited a right-hand side with Dest that was so good for us. Like our best player was on the left side of the field. And if you go back and watch every single game for like a 4-year run, right, under Berhalter into the next regime, Temi Weah and Dest, like those games were magic. World Cup qualifying, magic was happening on the right. Like some of the biggest moments in the biggest games happened with those guys and Musa kind of connecting and combining. So I love the idea of like Weah being on the left and connecting with Pulisic and creating these triangles and create like, because he's just so much niftier with the ball at his feet. And Weah can still bomb forward. Now he doesn't have the left foot that Jedi has. So, he might lose a little on the crosses and stuff. But to be honest, Poch isn't even relying on crosses like that. That's like not how we're playing. We're not really like, like cross merchants like we were under Berhalter, where it was just like, the worst tiki-taka of all time. Cross it, like
trying to win an aerial game. Yeah.
Yeah, like strikers weren't even good in the air, right? But like, so I don't know. People think I'm crazy for that, but that's like been my hottest take for 2 years. And I think like, I don't know. To me, it's like, okay, now what do we get? We get we get Freeman, Jedi on the field together, which is great. But then we have to play, whoever else, like we have to lose Temi Weah on the field. And I just don't want to do that. I don't know, but I'm going to stop because it's not going to happen. And I'm totally fine with Jedi being where he's going to be. And I'm totally fine with Weah being a super sub.
I mean, it could be worse, right? I mean, that's not. I mean, some teams don't have a player of that quality coming off their bench. But let me ask you this: this final question I have for you before we wrap this up, and it's the most important thing. The World Cup is 5 days away. Adam, how are we feeling, man? Like, are we feeling pretty optimistic? I mean, we talked about these camp. We talked about our lineups. You know, we got Turkey, Paraguay, Australia. Like, are we feeling pretty confident heading into this thing? Like, because we obviously it has been a roller coaster the last 4 years, dude. I mean, we literally fired Berhalter, had interims, rehired Berhalter, fired him again, hired Poach. It's just been up and down, crazy. But are we where you thought we would be?
Man, what stage?
Well, I guess that's a fair point. I guess when after the World Cup in 22, we felt hopeful that this was going to be something in 4 years,
right.
Especially playing in the United States. Like, if I told you where we are right now 4 years ago, would you be okay? Would you have been content with that?
Yeah. You know, because I feel confident. I actually feel really confident we're going to win the group. And that's like a weird feeling from where we've been the last 4. But like, I actually think we're built really well to play against Paraguay and Australia, which we've never been built well for that before. But like, I just feel like we're built really well to like beat teams that are going to be more conservative. And I think that's going to build confidence. And then I think Turkey's good. Like I am not poo-pooing Turkey, but I just think at home with momentum, with confidence, coming off of 2 wins, that's where I think we're going to be. I think we're going to go get Turkey too, or at least tie them. So I think we're going to win the group. And if you ask me, 4 years ago, if winning the group next World Cup is like a great outcome, it is, because it's all you can ask for is like put yourself in the best position in the knockouts you can, which is winning your group. And then you never know how knockouts are going to go, right? You just never know how the ball, the draw is going to, fall. You can't predict it. And I think we're well positioned to offensively to do special things. I think defensively is kind of, to me, where we're good. The Achilles heel is going to come defensively eventually. I think you're going to go play against somebody, and like you said against Germany, right? Like, good teams have great elite managers, right? And luckily, we also have a very good manager who's managed against this level of guy and knows this level of adjustments and tactics, right? It's a different level. It is. Like, there's no doubt. So I feel good about that part too, but it's just like, I haven't seen us establish the defensive identity to give me confidence that like we can go grind with, whoever, and I feel confident we'll get a win. Like, I'm not going to be confident we're going to get a knockout win, but I feel confident that we can play in a way that'll position us to win, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel that right now. I feel like we're giving up 2 goals against any good team, and then it's like, are we going to score 2 as well to like get to extra time? Like, maybe not. So I feel very good about group. Feel pretty poor about knockouts. If and when we get there, unless, who knows, Poch might adjust, right? Like, he's a smart dude. Like, he could easily adjust and make some adjustments in the big moments.
I feel very confident, more confident than I've felt in years. I don't say that lightly. I feel more confident than I have in years. And I think that if we don't have, if we broaden our, like you talk about that, what'd you say, 30,000 foot view? If you look at this roster compared to 22, this team is more talented. It's healthier. It's a better team. Sure. It's on American soil. So I know that we get lost and we get caught up in maybe about player 16 or player 26 not being good. But if you look at the first, the ideal starting 11, this team is better than it was in 2022. I think it is. Yeah, and I think we're healthier. Chris Richards didn't play in 2022. He's a big miss, right? And I think that with the maturity and the players we have, I think we are going to shock some people. I'm starting to buy into the hype. I think we're going to do it, man. I think I'm starting to get some of your optimism. Baby. Yeah, I drank some of your optimism, right?
USMNT moves.
Yeah, that's USMNT moves, man. Yeah, hell yeah. Right. This is fan mode. I'm feeling good, man. I'm excited. I can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait to feel the energy. I mean, dude, this is like Christmas on crack. Like, this is it, man. This is the first World Cup, Adam, we've had in our time zone in 12 years. Russia, you had to get up super early. Qatar was in Christmas, like around, the holidays. What a normal World Cup. This is the first normal World Cup we've had in 12 years. And I'm going to savor every single moment of it, man.
What's nuts is I am going to be in Greece from June 23rd until July 6th. So
Damn,
I'm
2
going.
weeks
Yeah, we've had a plan for a long time. So
Yeah.
I'm going from the right time zone to the wrong
to the
time zone.
wrong time zone.
But man, I'll be watching. It'll be late games a lot. But actually, what'll be kind of nice is a lot of the earlier games will be evening for me. Where like
That's
it'll
true
be
because they are late games. Yeah.
right. So it'll be
So
like the 3 o'clocks will be 9 o'clock. I
yeah.
was kind of looking at it, being like, all right, where can I watch? But I'm gonna have some late nights. I think one of those USMNT games is gonna be really late over there. So
Or
I'm
early
excited
mornings,
for it, though.
right? Yeah. We'll see what happens, man. But listen, guys, make sure you go follow my friend Adam at Stan USMNT. He's got some great takes and stuff. He's willing to debate with you. He's willing to interact with you. He's a frequent guest on our channel. We're gonna have him on more during the World Cup before he goes on his 2-week vacation to Greece. Adam, it's always a pleasure to have you on, my friend. Let's go turn some heads and maybe win this damn thing, man.
Let's go do it, man. It's time, boys.
Appreciate it. Until next time, guys, I'll see you all soon.